Good morning, YouTube. Today is my exciting, I look forward to it always, but it's my refeed day. Now, what I wanted to talk about today, it seemed like sort of the best topic to help everybody who's using my app, Oak, to help people who just want general advice about how to sort of clean up the cheat meals and the refeeds and make it a little bit more advantageous for your health, your growth. I'm sort of going to walk you guys through the way that I view and look at these refeeds and cheat meals. So essentially, without further ado, I'm gonna start driving to the gym, and as these ideas and things come up, we'll go through the grocery store, all that good stuff, and as these ideas and things come up, we'll talk about them. But for now, I need to get moving. I need to get out of this house, get to the gym, get my leg day done, and then we'll move on to the treat day. Cheat meal, refeed, whatever you want to call it, all right? All right, guys, just pulled up to the gym. It's about a 50 minute drive. Today is leg day. Now, that isn't by accident. I actually usually try to put my treat meals, refeeds, cheat meals on a leg day. That's mainly because metabolically, it's the most expensive day that I go through. So might as well place the day where I'm refeeding on a day where I am the most highly active. So that's typically the thought process behind that. Today happened to be leg day. Back day is another day I don't mind. But yeah, so I'm gonna go crank that out, get that done, get that fresh blood flow, get my brain feeling good. We'll come back out and then we'll talk all food. So here we are, gym time, not my home gym. This is an actual gym that I am a member at. I will be going to hit this leg day, get my earphones in, get to work, get a sick workout. Legs should be nice and full, and then we will go hike them through a grocery store and pick out some items. All right, here we go. All right, guys, finished my leg workout. We are looking at 120 right now, which is extremely helpful for the fact that I won't have as much time in the day to do as much damage with my refeed / cheat meal. And most of you, I want you to keep in mind, the ultimate goal is really to refuel glycogen stores that start to get low later in the work week, or you know, whatever you want to look at it, like your food week, whatever. But when we're tracking macros, we're really trying to be responsible, and whether we're bulking or cutting, we're trying to put ourselves in a position to maintain a lean body mass and not put on bad weight. We're not trying to put on any fat. We're not trying to get too resistant to insulin. We really just want to be as clean as possible. Now, when I got started early, probably I'd say 4 years ago was the first time I started actually exercising with a specific goal for my physique. And before that, I was just exercising because I loved it. And I always had exercise figured out. But at some point during my journey, sorry, we're at a stop sign here, eyes on the road. But at some point during my journey, I really realized that I wanted to have a leaner body. I wanted to be a little bit cleaner with my food. So I started figuring out what was the optimal way to do it, all the different macro percentages that would benefit me. And long story short of it, along the way, while living in San Diego, Oregon, and then later on, of course, moving to where I live now, the Sierra Nevada mountains in Northern California, I was almost always close to good cheat meals. I'm talking, in San Diego, all the best Mexican food you can imagine, sushi, you know, all the fast food places. Oregon wasn't much different. Oregon had a lot of good stuff too. And now where I live, there's no fast food. Now, of course, I could go out and eat, but it's just not really cost effective. And I don't like really this is gonna sound crazy, but I don't really like having my cheat meal or my refeed around people. Some about just liking and enjoying the privacy and quiet of my own space while eating is sort of the more important part to me anyway. So what I started finding along the way is just through accidental design, I started having cleaner cheat meals, cleaner refeeds. Now there's a difference between the two. We'll go over that after the grocery store. But but I started having cleaner ones just because I didn't have access to all the garbagey stuff. Now, of course, I could buy chips and ice cream and that kind of stuff at a grocery store, but I slowly started backing away from that kind of stuff and sticking to a much cleaner cheat meal plan, cleaner refeed plan. And I started to find that I felt better the next day, looked better all week, and didn't have that rebound sort of water retention. And that all makes sense. We always know the cleaner you go, the better. So essentially the way my refeeds and my cheat meals look now is they are as clean as possible. I don't mean tracking my macros. I don't mean, you know, chicken and rice type stuff. I just mean homemade pasta. No olive oil, use a spray instead. Or maybe I'll do and you're welcome to do a couple teaspoons of olive oil. It's not gonna hurt you on your refeed. But we're looking at burgers, but burgers that I made at home. Not greasy, you know, deep fried fries with it. I don't eat chips anymore. I don't really do the chips with the cheat meal. Maybe I'll do those sour cream, like sour cream and onion, like Quaker rice chips instead. And you'll notice really the thing I'm trying to mitigate, the thing I'm trying to make sure I limit is not the overconsumption of oils, greases, and fats. Now we know fat's good for us, obviously, but it's really hard for your body to really feel good, look good, process things good when you're just loading it up with fat. And remember, fat is so calorically dense that you can do a lot of damage in a day with overconsumption of grease, oils, and fat. So I control for that variable now. Now during my cheat meals, I pick things, even if I'm excited, I'll do burgers at home, or maybe I'll do burritos at home, or maybe I'll make, like I said, pasta dishes, or ramens and stuff like that. But you'll notice I pick lean meats to complement all those meals, and I make them on the cleaner side. The reduction in oils and stuff, I feel awesome. And ultimately speaking, remember, the major goal of a cheat meal, okay, this is the differentiating factor between cheat meals and refeeds. A cheat meal isn't really that well planned out. It's more like you're just going to take a nice little 2 or 3 hour window to go enjoy burgers and fries and then go out to Cold Stone afterwards. And maybe you go and have pizza, but when you leave, you don't take the pizza home. These cheat meals are designed to just be a short amount of time that helps your mental health, so you can stick to your diet without getting tired of it. Refeeds are much different. A refeed is the idea that towards the end of the week, my glycogen stores are low because I've been so on track with my eating. So I need a larger window of time, maybe 6 hours of a day. And I need that time to replenish a lot of carbohydrates and restore the glycogen. Sort of the idea of carbohydrate loading, but I'm just trying to replenish those glycogen stores that have become depleted during the 10-day period or 8-day period at which I'm talking about. So I sort of use the words interchangeably just so everyone understands, you know, I'm saying I'm eating off plan, but ultimately speaking, the real plan for me when I do it is actually a refeed. I'm trying to keep it clean, I'm trying to get a lot of carbs in my system, and that is what I'm doing. So today, I'll be heading to the grocery store. I think I'm either gonna go to Save Mart or Safeway. For those of you who aren't from California, they're very different grocery stores, but they're kind of like I would say like middle class type grocery stores. A little more expensive than like than a grocery outlet or a discount store, but a little cheaper than like a Whole Foods. Right down the middle. Not the best place to buy meat in bulk. I prefer buying meat in bulk at like a Costco or an outlet type place, or even like a Sam's Club. But when I'm just talking about a single meal or a single day that I'm shopping for, this is fine. This will do the trick. I'll find stuff that's on sale. And the plan today is like a pasta. I want to do a sandwich. The pasta is going to be with the leanest ground beef I can find. Not really any fatty cheeses. I'm going to use spray butter for the pasta. I'm not going to even use whole like butter for real. Going to limit, probably no olive oil, and just really season it and make it good. So it'll be pasta, essentially some fruit is always great for me to replenish my glycogen stores. I don't eat a lot of fruit during the week. I eat some, but not a lot. And today I'll probably get like a cantaloupe or something awesome like that. And then when it comes to my sweet, believe it or not, I usually like to go with like more of a junkier you know, like a trashier cereal. So for me, it's like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something. But the great part about the cereal like that, low fat. Once again, I'm gonna use a low fat milk or a non-fat milk and just enjoy as much of that cereal as I want. When those 3 things are done with and over, I will move on with my day, finish the night off with something probably like a smoothie or something a little bit on the cleaner side, and then when I wake up tomorrow, it's right back to the macronutrient grind. So again, that's the major difference between cheat meals and refeeds, and that's also what my refeeds look like now. Now, you are welcome to keep the cheat meals, but understand, there are not cheat days on our oak or workout plans. We do not do cheat days. That is too much time to do damage with junky fast food. And if you're a person who needs to go out and get an In-N-Out burger or something like that, or you're a female who gets full pretty quickly and pretty easily, you don't need to worry about switching to a cleaner plan for your refeed days like I do. But you should just keep in mind the amount of damage you can do with fast food in a day. Pretty serious. You can undo a whole week's worth of a deficit, and we don't want to do that. But the amount of damage you can do in 2 hours, 3 hours, that's much more minimal. I still reserve the right that I think it's a much better plan for me because of the size of my appetite to stick to cleaner meals. That way I can eat more in volume and do less damage, and I get a little more time because I can eat more food. And then tomorrow, of course, I go right back to the plan. So yeah, long story short, beautiful day today here. It's like 66 degrees exactly, actually. Bluebird skies, super nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this grocery trip. I will try to get an inside shot at the grocery store, but I don't want to make people uncomfortable. You guys know how I am, more on the polite side with it, so I'll keep it short, but I maybe get you guys insight into me picking something out in the grocery store, get some quick cuts where no people are really involved in the shots, and then we'll keep it moving. All right, perfect. Now, this is not a cheat meal item, but is a staple during my week, and I am out, so gotta pick that up too. All right, guys, sorry about the damn glaring sunlight. Just got home from the grocery store. No idea what time it is, but we are going to check out a little behind the scenes peek into something that I just really began working on a couple days ago. So for most of you who have been following for quite some time, you know that I have this great building behind my home, which is essentially a shop. The previous owners of the home were like glass cutters, did a lot of work in the glass industry, so they had this shop, right? And this shop is beautiful, it's pretty big, and of course, naturally, I don't cut glass, so I'm turning it into a gym. Now, I've been here for quite some time, I've been living here for a while, and I just didn't have the finances or the money to pay somebody to do the walls. I need the walls to be, it has to be aesthetically pleasing if I'm gonna use this for real. It has to be aesthetically pleasing. If I'm gonna make content in it, if I'm gonna get pictures in it, if I'm gonna do my stuff in here, my YouTube series are gonna be in here, it's gotta be pretty. It's gotta be nice to look at, and unfortunately, it isn't. And I don't have the money to pay somebody to make it so. Naturally, what do you do in those situations? You fucking do it yourself. So, here we are. This is the beginning of some recycling of insulation to keep it, you know, pretty temperature controlled in here. We've got this beautiful pine siding I'm using to go over the insulation on this wall, and then it will go over the top. I will likely have the luxury of having to do something with the ceiling. I don't know what yet, but I want to keep them high, keep them vaulted. New door is coming in a couple of days, so that'll be pretty, instead of this like 70s just wooden garbage door, it'll be that. So right now it is a mess. My tool belt's over here, you know, ratchet set right there. There's not really much on the walls, but this is just a nice little slice of heaven right here, so you can see how beautiful it's about to be. And really, honestly, once this is painted, this garage door and this pine, it looks beautiful. So check it out. Remember, you guys got to see it before anybody else did. it's dope. It's also nowhere near done. So yeah, that is the insight into my future creative space. Get ready when it's finished. It's gonna be one of the sickest home gyms on all of the internet, that's for sure. I am now finally in the kitchen, dining room, kitchen nook area, but I'm in the kitchen with all the groceries I bought. This is not a week's worth of eating, none of that. This is my treat meal, refeed side. This is a couple of items that I just needed to start off my week with that I normally eat, tracking macros, clean eating, all the above, okay? So we're gonna talk about everything I got, how I use it, why I like it. So remember when I said now that I do refeeds, my major focus is just making sure that I take in a excessive amount of carbs. I want that excessive amount of carbs to complement the fact that I've been coming in low for multiple days in a row. So I'm not really thinking with the mindset of eating as dirty as possible. I'm actually thinking with the mindset of refueling and refilling those glycogen stores in an efficient way that also kind of gives me a break from the typical foods I'm eating during the week. So let's first talk about the boring foods for the week. Bananas for protein pancakes or smoothies or whatever, always need these. So I grabbed a handful of bananas. These are the potatoes, golden potatoes. They happen to have really high fiber content, so they're very macro friendly. I eat one bag of these potatoes 5 to 6 days a week, no joke. It's a major source of my carbohydrates. I actually do better on potatoes than I do on rice. Sugar-free ketchup, always need some around. It's pretty macro friendly. I usually mix Louisiana hot sauce in with it. You know, do with that as you will, but always need some of this around. I was running low, so I picked some of that up. Once again, these are not my refeed items. These are my normal week items. Got some lean steak. This is like a sirloin. You could also get like a London broil or something like that. Now I have chicken in the freezer. What I don't have is my one red meat meal. I usually eat like one red meat meal every 3 days just to break it up, get some iron in my system. The rest is usually mostly chicken, turkey, fish, stuff like that. So I do break it up with some red meat and some elk. I have both of those, needed some red meat for the week. We have, of course, eggs. You don't need to look at eggs, but we got some eggs. And then lastly, probably one of the most important things for your sanity during the week, a sugar-free soda can be really nice for my sweet tooth later in the day. So this is sugar-free A&W. Arguably, in my opinion, the best tasting of all sugar-free sodas. It's just the closest thing to the real thing. I haven't had a real soda in years, but that is literally the same thing in my head. Now, as long as you're hydrating and you are, you know, staying on top of your game, a sugar-free soda a day is not going to hurt you. I know aspartame has scared a lot of people in the past. Don't worry about it. One a day is totally fine. Okay, now let's talk about our cheat meal stuff. The fun stuff, the refeed stuff that we want to mention. So, one, you guys knew I talked about it. I followed through. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the main dessert on the menu. That will be the main dessert I have today. The macros are not horrible for Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They are pretty low in fat. So I'll probably have 3 or 4 servings of that, 3 or 4 bowls of it, and I'll probably only take in about 16 grams of fat from that. Now remember, I tried to say high carb, same amount of protein as always, but higher carbs. So I'm probably gonna eat 500 grams of carbs today. And as low of fat as I can manage. So we're still trying to manage the fat. Honeydew melon, it's what they had. Cantaloupe did not look good there. You know, a good cantaloupe can be amazing. A bad cantaloupe can be pretty gross. It can taste like a squash. So the honeydews look better. I grabbed a honeydew melon. That'll be my fruit for the day. Probably eat half of that realistically, and then share it with family or whatever, not end up finishing the whole thing. We have this sandwich from a local deli that is the best sandwich to this day I've ever had. That's what it looks like. That'll probably be the first thing I eat. Sprouts, turkey, a little bit of bacon, not a lot, a little bit of bacon in there. Very refeed friendly, sourdough bread. It's gonna be the most fatty thing I eat today, and it's a sandwich, not that fatty. Nothing fried. It's lunch meat, for God's sakes. Light mayonnaise, you'll be good to go with that. Sugar-free Jell-O. I don't know, sometimes pistachio Jell-O, don't ask me why. Sometimes that kind of finishes like an ice cream craving I might have. And once again, this is sugar-free, and when I add fat-free milk, it's not going to be fatty at all. These I probably won't eat today, but I always keep them around for refeeds just in case I don't feel like making the pasta. But I did buy 2. This is the best. I'm not sponsored by this brand. I don't even know who they are. They don't know who I am. But since I found this, I have not stopped using this ramen as my favorite go-to on refeed days. Amazing. You'll be able to see it. You can look it up yourself. This specific flavor is spicy sesame. I've never had the spicy sesame, but the miso one, unbelievable. To this day, best ramen I've ever had when it comes to store-bought ramen. Of course, you can add whatever you want to it. I'll just be eating it plain. Incredible macros. There's literally no fat in it and a ton of carbs, so it's perfect for a refeed. Tomato sauce, I mean, you're not gonna make a good pasta without it. I don't make homemade tomato sauce. We know the reasons I mentioned, because I'm not looking for a high olive oil, high fat content meal. I'm looking for the opposite. So I control as many of the variables as I can. This one, as long as I don't add olive oil, the fat is manageable. We have a low fat ground beef, 96.4. And then lastly, of course, the most important part of it, a pasta. More of a macaroni style pasta with those nice textured lines in it. I don't know why I think about that specific one all the time. And like I said, I will be using a spray butter, like a fake spray butter, onto the pasta to limit the fat intake. And now this stuff is going to be my refeed. You don't need to see me eat. I don't even want to see me eat, so we're not going to watch that. This is what I'll be eating today, but I have one more thing to do before I begin. I will be eating, I know we already hit legs, I will be eating a small egg white meal, egg white omelet, something along those lines, a piece of toast, and then I will be hammering out a hard hit workout. I have to do cardio today. It is not going anywhere, so I must do that first before I begin eating, and then I will be consuming, if not all of this, most of this, and I'm not worried about if I finish off that whole honeydew melon today. This is my clean refeed version of what everybody else likes to do. And because I'm picking a clean refeed instead of a nasty cheat meal, you know, fast food otherwise, I'm gonna be able to consume a lot more calories in a cleaner way, and this will benefit me quite a bit more. So yeah, this is what it's gonna look like. Remember, I'm not doing the pasta and the ramen. I will be choosing one or the other and then complementing it with a lot of the beef and the protein that I need to eat. So that's what it looks like. We got my clean foods for the week. We got my refeed foods. You can see how clean they are. I'm gonna go get started with the rest of my day so I can then shower and then enjoy my food. So I hope you guys enjoyed something that's a little bit out of the usual, not a typical thing that I do, but a little insight into some of the food I really like to choose for my refeed. So we'll talk soon.